Hummingbirds will be flying around back there.
Yeah.
I love
All
my
right, I'm gonna
hummingbirds. Well, they're
start
my sister.
letting some
They're my
people in.
sister's
We're
hummingbirds,
going
really.
live.
Yeah, they're really my sister's hummingbirds.
Yeah, I saw them just a bit ago.
Oh,
Awesome. We're getting started here.
it's the freaking A team. It's the
Yes.
A team.
Welcome. Welcome. Oh, super excited to have everybody here at the Coffee Connection. And as usual, I do want to get this started with um, starting off with networking. That is what we really are all about, bringing everybody together. This is an amazing opportunity to meet and greet and socialize and get to know everybody across the globe. So please take advantage of the chat, put your information in there, tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'm going to be letting people in while we're typing here before we get started. I know a lot of people are here to talk with our spotlight speakers. We do have a couple people here, and it's super exciting to get that recap of the past drone fest there in Palm Springs. So with that, I'll let one more person in here, and then I see the chat going. I love it. Thank you, Vic. And he's got his information in there. And with that, we are live on several different social media platforms. I'm not able to actually see any comments or anything from LinkedIn and other platforms. So if you make comments, we do have them recorded and we'll be able to do a follow-up with you later if you'd like. Right now, we are visualizing everybody, especially Skip right now, on the Zoom session. So I am going to segue over to Skip Fredricks, who's going to give us, along with others, RoseAnn's here as well, going to give us a recap of the Palm Springs Drone Fest. So Skip, I'm just going to kick it over to you. You're already spotlight for everybody. And just tell us a little bit about the weekend. It was phenomenal.
Well, first, though, I'd like to thank my sister for allowing me to use her patio. It's about, for those of you that were in Palm Springs that weekend, it was 100. It was the hottest it's ever freaking been that time of the year. We set a record, and right now it's about 60. So I'm on spring break. There is no more classes at Grosvenor for about a week, which means I get to sit out here in the patio with the laptop. I'm not in the office. I'm not in classes. I'm not dealing with students. So that's kind of fun. So recap, where do I start? First of all, I think I'm going to start with thanking the school board because they're on right now for actually funding this thing and making it happen, providing the space and all the infrastructure. So that was great. And then of course we had tons of volunteers. So the first day we had about 100, and then when they realized it was going to be 100 degrees, the next day we had about 10. So there was that. And then of course I think for me it was very important to have the speakers that were there. You have VIP speakers because since it was the first one and we were trying something really unique and different, the credibility that you guys provided was just second to none. Obviously, the support you gave me before the event, and then of course after event, the follow-up stuff after the event was really great. It was it. Although a lot of you guys were there for 3 days, it took about 4 months to make this thing happen, and it was a really just 3 months. The idea was Tim and I we tried this about 15 years ago. Of course, you guys heard the story. The technology wasn't there. It was fun to do it with the kids, flying these drones around, but it just wasn't there. And then probably about 5 years ago, I got some funding from Anderson's Children's Fund. I think some of you guys remember that when I got my first grant for my nonprofit. And that money allowed me and Tim to get together again and do an event in Desert Hot Springs. And we had about 30 kids. That was the start of it. But the problem was the younger kids had difficulty flying even the simplest drones, even the DJI drones, although we were still teaching them as young as, fourth and fifth grade. And then about 4 years ago, at the Commercial Drone Expo, Tim Ingram, who was the president of FIDA, came across the soccer drone guys, and then the light bulbs went off. He's an educator, and he's been running camps in the community for years. And then of course for me it was drones and the ability to teach younger kids. And then the thing just that pun took off. But from and so that's how the whole thing got started in the community. And then Palm Springs Unified District was one of our first districts to come on board with the program, with camps that we were doing. We do these boot camps for kids over the summer. They run about 6 weeks. We've done about 15,000 kids that we've basically given the infrastructure or the foundation to learn how to fly drones. So some of them are really into it and they go on with it. And then Palm Springs Unified was the first district to actually put together their own drone soccer competition. So every one of their schools, I think, are participating in it. The enthusiasm was really there, and they want to take to the next level. Palm Springs City, Palm Springs community, nobody wanted to hear from me for 5 years. Now they all want to talk to me. So the idea is they want to have an iHub here, a drone-centric, education area. Hopefully, either College of the Desert or UC Riverside. Take a look at the program that me and RoseAnn and Ramon and Javier and Erica have developed at Grossmont College, which is extremely successful. 600 students, 200 students placed in high-paying drone jobs, partnerships with companies like Jamar's Promo Drone. We have Jason and the robot dogs. We have our company that we're working with the solar wind, the solar panel cleaning. We have Soaring Eagle. So we specifically work with 5 high-paying industry partners, and we train students specifically for those jobs. So it's a successful program. I want to do it here in the Valley. I would never give up Grossmont. I love Grossmont College and the support that they've given me. However, I don't work every single day. I only work 3 days a week there. So I have Tuesday and Thursdays off, and so does RoseAnn. We have weekends off, except when we're working on this thing. I kid you not. This thing was every single day for 4 months. So it was brutal. But it really came out the way I wanted it to. It was very exciting. At some point, and I think Erica, not Erica, I think, so Desi, sometime around, since I can't see the whole picture, we're gonna have Esther and I dial in about 9:15 from Costa Rica. I think the success of this event really necessarily, it was successful as a drone soccer tournament, without a doubt. Thousands of kids playing from all over the world, playing in a qualifier, and then some of those teams, including some from Palm Springs, being able to go to Korea and compete in September. That's huge, because that's the program, that's the foundation of the program. That's FIDA USA, and that's what Tim's doing. But my thing is drone cinema, drone education. I'm still in the business, and the idea is to create a television event, a streaming event around this program. To that extent, when Esther comes on, she'll talk about what she had to specifically do to create this, her part of the show, the musical event, the coordination with the drones and all that kind of stuff. So she's in Costa Rica. I don't know if she's in the rainforest shooting another music video or something. I have no idea. And so maybe when she comes in, since I can't see it, you can just cut me off, because what she did with her coordination and the music and the timing, I don't know if you were able to really watch that, to notice that the music was in time, especially when she started playing her violin, the giant violin came up in the air. I think after that, we'll talk logistically about it. I would like to, I think, my perspective is always, I get the 10,000-foot view of it. And a lot of people ask me, how this came about. So specifically, for me, it was a 3-ring circus, right? So each part of it. But the big part was, Friday night was its own thing, right? It was the opening ceremony. It was splash and circumstance and television and whiz bang and all that. Great way to start the event. Then we had the drone soccer competition, which initially was the whole point of this originally. So there was that. So it's another ring. And then we have what I'm calling the expo, and that's where I got the support of you, Desi, and Women in Drones and Vertical Spaces and all the other speakers to create what I'm calling sort of the expo portion of it. Now, obviously, that was new to Palm Springs, and what was great about the expo portion, even though we didn't bring in a lot of traditional drone people or anybody that even knew about drones. It was great to watch some of the kids and the younger people come over and do the lightsaber and do the drone, the rocket drone FPV, and do some of these demos, and then sit in the live streams that you were doing. I do have some great ideas for the next time on how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to keep trying to stay away from the traditional drone expo. Although I've had some very interesting calls from them. I've had some very interesting calls from everybody. It's kind of like nothing like 3.8 million impressions according to Chat GPT, and it's easy to find that. You just have to hashtag the searches, and 30,000 views and impressions from all the people that were streaming to Instagram and TikTok the night of the event. So that's been quite helpful in waking up at least people in the industry that want to put on events. So I'm kind of happy with that.
Kelly French put out an amazing recap of it as well. Her review was phenomenal.
After I watch, it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm sitting here on about 15 hours of content. I have a 4 terabyte drive. It's right next to me, next to the hummingbirds. I don't know if you guys have seen any of these hummingbirds flying around. But anyway, and I'm trying to put it together. We have into either one 90-minute show or three 30-minute shows for NBC. But what Sally did in 5 minutes and 30 seconds, I mean, it was perfect. It was like, boom, here's the whole event. Thank you very much. The enthusiasm, she touched on freaking everything. I should let her edit the whole 15 hours of content I got, because I couldn't have told it any better, and I couldn't have told it any quicker. And I just thought it was outstanding. It was really just an outstanding recap. I mean, she was everywhere. I don't know how she did it. It was amazing. It was just really amazing. So that was awesome having her there and having her do that. So I appreciated it. I think I definitely would like to talk about some of the technical aspects of what went on behind the scenes, but I certainly would like to, if possible, and maybe before Esther comes on his hand, I'm going to just drop RoseAnn right into this, because she was our lead cinema camera. She was flying her drone to the live feed, and she was a great pick for that because she had worked with NBC before doing their parades with me, and she's done a lot of cinematography, so she knew what she was getting herself into with the live stuff, a little more so than, or maybe a little more so than the other crews. So I think, although you guys know I like to talk and just splatter it out, I would definitely, because RoseAnn and I really haven't even had a chance to debrief. We had finals with our basic flight class last week, and we were busy just grading them. We didn't really have any days off at all from the event to that. So I'm gonna, if that's okay with RoseAnn.
All right. And I already made her co-host as well.
Okay.
And spotlight now. Hello, RoseAnn.
Hi. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. And a lot of people here helped us put this together on the expo day, and I knew what I was getting into the minute we had that first meeting with Tim and NBC and Skip. And it was a lot to make happen in a very short amount of time. The overall arc was always education, sports, and entertainment. Those verticals for this drone industry don't always get a lot of attention like all the others do. We've all been to, the drone expos, which are fun-ish, and I learn a lot, but there's only so much software booths I can see, people. Just gonna say it. So this was an opportunity, and to bring in like new people. Like, I go to these expos and I kind of see the same people, and it's really nice to bring in young families, young kids that are interested in the sport, people that don't know anything about, getting their trust, or, how do I start? Or, oh my gosh, this is fun. It's, not all industrial. It can be a good time. And, I've been teaching a lot of these kids in Palm Springs now about 3 years. And it was so fun to see them there, either competing, or there with their parents, or there with their teacher. And we've been doing this little steps along the way. So that was super fun. seeing how far they've come, and remembering the first day when I was trying to get them to do stuff. So that was really awesome. But, I think this industry would do itself a favor if it would focus more on education, sports, and entertainment. There's a place for all of us, right? There is a place for all of us, no matter what area you're coming from or what interest you have. That's my message all the time, is we have to make this table for everyone, big for everyone, whether it's just for hobby, artistic, career, tool in your toolbox. So that's all.
It's
I
good.
agree. Yes, we do need to make that the focus and not lose the root of that foundation for the future. So that's very good point. So, all right, I have to ask, share some more of that behind the scenes. We love that part because we see things from the outside. You're talking about all those people that are coming in, they're competing and all, but behind the scenes, it has to have a juggling act going on. Share some of that.
Okay, so I would label it as, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Obviously, the good was the success of the event. I can tell you that the challenges were, because of the school day and the school set schedule, that staging outside didn't get completed until about an hour before we were to go live on the network. And I'm going to focus this one section on drone people. So we had about 1,000 drones in the light show, and then we had 3 drones connected into the live switcher, and then we had the live switcher with their satellite uplink, and then we had another 5 other drones filming, doing different things. And then we had, of course, the drones, that part of the performance, the orb drones and the FPV drones, including the 100-mile-an-hour drone from Korea. So at one point during the show, there was all the lighted drones up and almost all of the performance drones up and the camera drones up. So just that alone, obviously there's a concern with signal interference. But what we literally found out in real time was that Starlink will wipe out. It's such a big footprint of frequency disruption. It will wipe out some of the connections to the drones. It operates on 5.8 or whatever it is, and 2.4. So because of the nature of the setup, because the staging was wrong initially for the lightsaber people, so we had to, Will and his team. So the Palm Springs Unified District guy he's like a suit and coat guy. He's education. He runs the district. I'm telling you, he was out there with all of us in 100-degree sun, just busting his ass building stuff. And the stage was put together wrong the first time, and the Jedis couldn't work on it, and Esther couldn't work on it, and these are all professionals. So nobody was happy about it, but they had to redo it. They had to rebuild the stage. So we rebuilt the stage, and when we were doing that, we also had to rebuild the electronics, move the soundboards and the lighting boards and the switching board.
I'm going to cut you off. Esther's here.
Oh, Esther's here? Oh, well, thank you. Because Esther's the celebrity and she's the talent. I'm going to defer to Esther because she's in Costa Rica, and her manager said, Skip, dude. And I said, as soon as she shows up, she can have it. So plus you probably want to talk to her more, look at her more than me anyway. All right, so thank you.
All right, let's make sure she's in okay. And then I will make her spotlight. Hi, Esther.
Hello,
Hi, Esther.
everyone. Hi, Skip. How you all?
Good.
All right. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course. I'm in Colombia actually right now, not Costa Rica. Sounds good too, though.
I knew you were down there, doing something. So in the rainforest. So Esther, I because of what you did was so unique, I really would, and people aren't really aware of all of the work that went on that you did yourself prior to this, the choreography, the music timing. It would be great if you sort of went into just what you did to prepare for it, and then what turned into our 15-minute rehearsal and sound check before the event went live.
You know, it's quite interesting. I feel like a lot of times where I put a set together or I put a show together, it all depends on give me 1 second. I'm gonna use 1 second, 5 minutes. I'm on Zoom. So I'm with my family right now, so we have the whole family here. Okay, so I think it's like the whole time where I put something creatively, I look at all the factors that are involved in the creation and development of what we're trying to pursue and we're trying to portray. So here, when I was putting my music together for the drones, I think I had a couple of questions to skip. And one of the questions that I always ask is demographic. Where is the place? What is it that what is the goal? What was it that was going to be portrayed with the drones? What were the figures that were going to be going on around? Because obviously I had no chance to see them before. So I walked in just, creatively connected with everybody else. I feel it was just very magical. So I kind of like timed everything personally in my head prior to it, but I felt it was luck that it just matched perfectly because I just took all the information that Skip gave me. We want to spend about 1.5 to 2 minutes per drone, and we're gonna start with the violin, and then we're gonna go into a trophy, and then we're gonna go into this and that, and then after that, we're going to finish with a grand finale of all the logos and everything else. And I just make sure that while I was creating the music, it would just make sense. The songs that I was gonna put, it had violin. The things that the trophy was a song that that was gonna be kind of like uplifting and it just like feel good and it just like kind of like will be flowing with it. I also kept my eye on looking at what was going on to make sure that by the end, I will end with everybody else. So, it's a little bit pivoting throughout the time, but at the same time, it's just like being connected and just like being aware of the surroundings. Because at the end of the day, if you have to pivot, you have to pivot. And that's all that matters, just creating and making sure everything goes smoothly with everybody else. You guys did such an amazing job. I feel like the drones were so perfectly synchronized. Everything was so great that it just made it easier for me.
It was all choreographed and everything has to fall in line. And then, like classic drone industry, we do have to pivot occasionally and make things happen. Awesome. Well, as a spectator, I have to say it was phenomenal. And I did not know because it all flowed together so well.
Well, do you have to go, Esther? But anyway, but I thank you so much for tiling in. Ben, your manager, he's a manager. He's very clear. I give you 5 minutes because we're doing this and we're doing that. And I said, well, you're the boss.
But if anybody else has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it or like anything else you guys would want to know. I'm here before I go.
Well, I do want to, a lot of people don't realize that most of the people that were in the production part of this and other people, but were doing me a solid because of our relationship. Esther and I worked on, I found the videos. I found some of the videos from that first shoot. Yeah. So Esther and I worked on some videos a long, long time ago. Not that long ago, because obviously she's so young, but a while ago, maybe 10 years ago. And we're from the LA area, we're from Hollywood area. And as much as the executives are, pretty much a bunch of assholes and stuff like that in the production industry, movie, television industry, the creative people aren't. We're always collaborating, we're always working together. The idea that we'd all hang out at a Starbucks and come up with concepts is true. And so, I had the opportunity to work with her at first at the Miss Latina USA pageant where she was performing and Pitbull was there, and that's the big deal. And then we worked on the music video and then some of her concerts, her first concerts. So when I reached out to her, it was great that she was willing to be a part of this. And because, this compared to the events she does around the world, it might be the first one, but this was a little event. And there's times when people, when they get to a certain level in their career, they don't want to look back at doing something smaller. So it was really nice. I really appreciated the fact that she was willing to kind of, rough it for a couple of days, at a production out on a football field for me, along with, some of the other crew. The cinematographer, Brad,
so much
he just
fun.
did the Oscars. Was that Esther?
It was so much fun. I enjoyed every part of it. It was such a unique experience. I had never done it before. And obviously, you and I, we go way back.
I have a question for Esther.
love
I
that.
wanted to ask you, of all your performances, was this your first one where drones and lighted drones was included in the show? Was the first one?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it
awesome.
was very, very magical. Yes. The first one of many more to come.
That's right. That's right. We shot a music video with Esther out at the Salton Sea. We're going to be doing another one. So it's really exciting to be working with her again. And of course, as you know, my goal has always been to produce content drone only. So it'll be, major performance with a drone only video. And that's always been my goal once I got out of the, television industry and the film industry. Don't want to put a camera on my shoulder anymore. Just want to fly them. So it's pretty neat. That's coming. I've been looking at the video. That's coming soon. So you'll love it. Really love it.
Yeah, very magical. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. And
Yes,
love meeting the ones that I got a chance to meet during the event, and hope to meet you guys all in the future.
Awesome.
Thank you. Kim.
Thanks, Esther. Thank
for
you so
joining
much.
us.
Bye.
I did put your Instagram into our chat so people can check it out.
Absolutely. And then we'll be posting some of the content from the actual event, from the Drone Fest, as soon as I get the content from Skip.
Thank you, Esther.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So bye. So really quick, I wanted to let you know that Dawn is also on here and Race is on here. And so I didn't know if we wanted to loop them into any conversation.
I don't think it would hurt to, everybody had their own sort of jobs to do, and everybody, and we didn't actually just, except for the opening night, which was always going to be mine and was mine. The rest of it was sort of people just fell into their positions when we sat down, when me, Tim, and Ray sat down at the breakfast place in Desert Hot Springs and said, "Oh my God, what do we get ourselves into?" So I think it would be interesting. We haven't debriefed yet. We've been so busy recuperating that we haven't had a chance to just chit chat. But I think it'd be nice to hear from Ray. So a lot of you guys met him. He handled a lot of the speaker part. He handled a lot of the infrastructure part. And then I know I saw somebody from the school district.
Cool.
I think it would be great to hear from what they thought, because I haven't heard from them yet either, unless they already left.
Okay, let me behave. I'm going to say
Yes.
it wrong. I'm sorry. Behavini?
Yeah, I brutalized her name too. She's still there.
I'm going to make
Yeah.
you spotlight and co-host, all right?
All right.
On down. There's Ray's. I make spotlight. Where'd she go?
Oh, Ray's turn on your mic.
Spotlight. There we go.
Yes.
Such a pleasure to see everyone out there as well. So, Behavini, is that how I say it?
Well, it's Bhavani, but that's okay.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hey,
I'd
Bhavani.
love to hear some
Hi.
of your insights as well. I did have a pleasure of meeting you while we were there, and so it was wonderful talking with you. But share some of your insights.
Yeah, I'll go first. The kids loved it. They absolutely had such a blast. And hats off to the team. The Friday night with the drones and the show, like even parents came, some principals came, all of it. I was blown away. We had no idea. And so it was fantastic. And the kids were just super excited and they felt like we're at an official real event, Miss Patel. I'm like, absolutely you are. And they were just so excited because it was a qualifier. And thank you for everyone's patience, because I know it's like hurdling, of just all the kids are running everywhere. You want to make sure everyone's in the right spot. So, but all of that to say, the kids really enjoyed, and we've been so thankful that, we've been able to do boot camps with you guys. And so, and then now we have after school clubs at elementary, middle school, high school, and just the pathways that you can see in career wise. And then with elementary starting with just drones and knowing what that is. And for parents too, like this was the first time that they can see, oh, okay, it's not just a toy that they play with, and like just opening up the different pathways that are available to the kids. So it was nice to have families come as well so they can see. Yeah, at school they pick up their kids later for the after school program, but they don't really see. So I think it was nice for them to see of like, oh wow, this is real. Like there's actually potential in this for our kids. So if my kid's interested in doing it, I definitely want to encourage it. So yeah, it was huge. It was a lot more than we thought it was going to be, but lots of good moments. And I think lots of things of like, okay, moving forward, like how can we do things better for next year? But we're just very appreciative in general for the opportunity and the partnership.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think the education panel that you hosted was a really good way for all the other people, educators and administrators and teachers, to kind of see from our perspective, like what we were doing there too. So thank you for that. That was great.
Thank you for being on the panel. And as Desi said, like, you pivot, and that's what you do as in classrooms all the time too. And with events and everything, it's just, you just have to go with it and go with the flow. And essentially that's something that you teach kids as well, right? So we want them to know that too. Like things aren't always going to line up. You have to learn how to be flexible and pivot and go. But yeah, thank you so much, ladies, for being on the panel.
That's all a part of the whole engineering process, right? And so it's putting it to use. Awesome. Race.
If I could weigh in briefly if you want me to take a minute.
Yes.
You guys, this was, for those of you that went, kudos, you saw everything, but for those of you that didn't, you missed a really unique experience, I'd say. And it was surreal in so many ways. The Friday night event, Skip, was magical. And something like 1,000 people that were there to witness it saw something very, very special. And I just think it all kind of came together, and it was frightening because I was sure that there was every chance that the wheels were all going to fall off, and they didn't. So kudos, that was really fun. We had a whole bunch of stuff happen, and I think my most memorable experience after the Friday night affair would be I had 2 vans full of the Korean national teams. And when I say vans, I mean there's like 30 people, 15 in each one, and all of their big drone soccer balls. And we were just packed into those things, getting across and getting it all sorted. And they got off the bus, and I said, "I'm so sorry, we were so cramped." Says, "Well, we had so much fun." So it kind of goes to show you that sometimes when you think it's rough on people, it's an experience that they're going to remember the rest of their lives. And I guarantee you that a lot of people are at that event this last weekend are going to talk about it just that way. And yeah, I'm excited. There's a lot of things we'll do a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, I think that we had a hell of an event, and I think it's got people talking sense, and I think they'll talk all the way up to the next one.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree.
Looking forward to it. That's for sure. That is for sure. So one of the things that I would like to touch on is, everybody keeps talking about the Friday night ceremony and such like that. But one of the things that you did when you first kicked off that evening was the parade of students. Tell us about the students and the parade and them coming through.
Well, that was when we were doing the production meeting, that was Tim's idea. And because they were coming through from there's 20 nations that were represented there, plus all of the local kids. And so kind of like we were thinking in terms of the opening ceremony of the Olympics, where they would come on, the field, and they would march on in and take their seats. And initially there was a lot of things that we weren't able to put together in a short amount of time. And I had a bigger opening planned, but time and budget presented that. And also Disney, because we tried to secure a license for the 51st Legion, which are the Star Wars stormtroopers that march at Disney. There's 50 of them, and we were working on getting them to lead the kids in, because we do our lightsaber camps at at the Palm Springs District part for the summer. And it's a big part of our program with our action actors, Fiona and her team, which also were an integral part of the opening. And that I think the crazy part is the timing. Nobody seems to understand, or at least, if you're outside of it, the timing that went into everything. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to lead in the kids with the stormtroopers, but Disney licensing people they didn't say no, but there was a lot more involved because we were doing the live television than just, if it would have been just the event at the school, it might have been easier. But we still wanted to do the parade with the kids. Tim specifically wanted to do the parade with the kids. And it was twofold. One, it puts them front and center in front of all of their family, which I know everybody loved. And we have them on video. We had them in the stream and then the follow-up programming, so they were all marching in. But it was kind of neat. It was kind of neat to have them all marching. And some of the teams hadn't gotten there yet. Some were just, because they came in from around the world, they were just flying in. So it was kind of, we were missing some of our teams. But that was a good question, Des. Sometimes these little things that mean a lot to people, I don't want to say I forget about them or don't care, but, I forget about them and sometimes I just don't care. So there's that. But yeah, they marched in. That was great because it gave us all a chance behind the scenes to fix all the technology that wasn't working at the time, like, with the drones and stuff like that. So, and the lighting.
That was great because we didn't see that, but it did give an opportunity to see the students and really start to identify with who was going to be there, and global from around the world, and really the countries that were coming and everything. And so it really, I'm glad you did that part.
Well, this initially started out as just Tim is president of FIDA USA. He's been working with that organization for the last 2-3 years. He owns all the rights to the drone soccer and FIDA and the competition and sanctioning in North America and Mexico. So the idea, and it's a great expanded learning program. I mean, the core of it is what RoseAnn said. It teaches students, we're teaching students and we're getting them to be active. And what's great about drones, like I always said, it's video game comes alive. It gets kids out in front of a screen and outside and in competition. They're learning. And so, but the program really is expanded from our very first school to where Tim is now, and Palm Springs District really wrapped their arms around this. And so what we want, that's what it was first. It was always a qualifier first. And Tim said, with the help of Will and Palm Springs District and the high school, he says, we have the whole high school. What do you want to do with it? And I said, I don't know. Let's do some more stuff. Let's add drone racing. Let's add this. So the next thing you know, it turns into this big thing. So we had the opportunity to scale this up. But at its core was really the 1,500 kids that were playing drone soccer from all over the world. And that's always what it was supposed to be. And it could be just that. But it was great to add the opening night ceremonies to make a big deal out of it. If we didn't have the opening night ceremony, we would have never got NBC on board, right? Because they've covered the kids and that looks great, but it's television. They needed something big and bright and loud, and that worked out great. I think, and then the expo was like, well, I think we should add more to it. And that would, you guys in the expo section and the demos for more hands-on for the kids, and then seminars. But I got to tell you, you're streaming, and then Paul's streaming, real people, real life that was streaming in the front. It was so successful in bringing in viewers from all over that going forward, my expo format would be completely different. I want to do it like, I'm sure a lot of you guys watch, Seth Meyers or you watch Stephen Colbert, or you watch any one of these nighttime shows. But I think instead of doing individual seminars, like old school commercial drone expo where there's 100 people in a room and Vic is doing a great thing about whatever Vic does because it's always great, or any one of our speakers, or you or Fiona, any speaker that was there, Sally, they all give great seminars. But I really enjoyed the sort of television talk show genre that you guys presented in your stream, and that Paul and them presented in the front. And so I think we do this again. The idea is I don't think I want to do like necessarily individual seminar blocks. I want to set up like the Tonight Show or the Today Show, and you got your desk and your couches, and you bring people in and they talk. You know, we go from one live stream to another live stream to another live stream, and they talk about the industry and they talk about their seminars, and we create this media thing where people can come in and out all day long because every 45 minutes there's another TV show going. So that's kind of what I looked at least for me, and I saw what was going on with you guys and that part of the event, and then with the actual hands-on stuff. Additionally, hopefully it will never be outside when it's 95 to 100 degrees again. I did that motorcycle thing at the end of the day. It was 100, and I mean I was baking. It was so hot. But I think in terms of what we're able to do like that, I think that would be kind of neat. I just think the success of it internationally, because it's an international event. I think for the correct me if I'm wrong, for the Palm Springs teams qualified to go to Korea. The kids, 4 teams.
They did. We had elementary, middle school, and high school teams qualify.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at how huge that is. I mean, the kids from Palm Springs going to Korea to compete in an international event. I mean, for Palm Springs, it's certainly huge. And then maybe the mayor will write about it next time instead of writing about going to look at a cheese factory or something in his weekly report. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
I think he just forgot it. He must have just skipped his mind because it was such a cool thing.
I know he does a weekly, I'm not trashing the mayor or anything, thanks for coming, but I mean, he does a weekly newsletter for the community, and on the 21st, he talks about going and looking at a new kitchen at the American Legion. Now, that's great for the American Legion, but I mean, there was other stuff going on first. I'm just
Well,
saying.
it takes time to formulate the letter in the newsletter. That's it.
Yeah.
And
So-
you need a little more time. It was so action-packed.
Yeah, so there's that. There was that, so I just think it's really neat that that's come full circle. And RoseAnn and I last year were there, and it's so big in the Pacific Rim. When RoseAnn and I were in Korea, and we were in South Korea. First of all, treated like royalty. I mean, honestly, they were so happy to have us there. They were happy to have us competing. I'm not really a good drone soccer player. RoseAnn's way better. But it was really just a unique experience. And now to be able to have, kids in elementary school and high school be able to go over there and experience that, it's a way to build bridges around the world. It's a way to communicate, the good part of what Americans are doing as opposed to not good parts. And it's also a great way to integrate, a community in South Korea, a nation that is so pro-technology, so pro this area. It's a big deal. It's a really, that on the political side, on the way it's bringing people together, it's just massive. So the drone soccer did, pretty much what it was supposed to do, and the competition did what it's supposed to do. And I couldn't be happier about that part of it. I didn't see Tim joining. It would have been better for him to talk about it, because we've kind of sort of defined our roles, and I'm just the media guy,
I want to go again. If we get to go again, I'm all in September. I mean,
I think we're going. I think this time, though, we're going to handle video production. We're going to handle production, unless you want to fly, unless you want to do drone soccer. I don't know. We got to cover the kids. We'll do a feature on the high school and the Palm Springs High School. So, but I just got to tell the story. You want to know the behind the scenes. That's the thing.
We do. We want to hear it.
So there's the Wizard of Oz, right? Everybody's seen the Wizard of Oz. Everybody's seen the Wiz. Everybody's seen them all, right? There's the curtain. And in front of the curtain, the wizard's badass, right? And behind the curtain, oh my God. So in front of that curtain at that event, I know it looked good because I've seen the TV. I've read all of the online posts. But on opening night, there's 25 people working with me or for me or whatever. 25 people. Every cameraman had a camera assistant. 5 cameras, 5 assistants. Every drone pilot had 1 or 2 VOs. That's just my team. Then we had 3 guys working. We had a guy switching the cameras. We had a technician monitoring the stream. And then we had a guy that was actually working the audio input to the switcher. Then we had a guy working the lights, and we had a guy working the sound. All of them were integrated. And then, of course, the drone light guys, right? The drone light show guys. So the stream came on at 7. And about, 30 minutes before or a day before, I got notified that the mayor and a bunch of dignitaries were going to talk. Just literally I mean, they're supplying all the infrastructure. Hey, Skip, these guys are going to talk now. So they just blew out the whole schedule we had. So now we had to rearrange the schedule behind the scenes on the fly. We didn't have oh, there's a hand up, but we didn't have we didn't have the stage set up, and that, well, we did have it set up, and then I made everybody tear it down, which everybody was pissed off, and then we reset it up again. So we were supposed to do a sound check at 4 o'clock. We were supposed to do a stream check at 4 o'clock. We were supposed to do all this stuff at 4 o'clock. Well, what happened? That got moved to like about 6:30, honestly. Well, then it's hot as heck out there, right? Everybody knows it's hot. It's no joke. We blew every fuse and transformer circuit at the school. I mean, just poof. So now there's no power. I'm like, oh, this is wonderful. So then I guess that you guys went in, they got generators. They got like actual generators and brought them out to the field and fired them up so we could have power. Because remember, besides all the technical stuff, it was hot, like really hot. And that interferes with the operations of all the electronics, all the drones, all the batteries, all the everything. So we had all of that stuff going on. And then this is really the cream of the crop. The cream of the crop was, and then maybe some of you noticed this or didn't. First of all, the drone show was supposed to be behind her. Wasn't supposed to be off to the right. It was supposed to be right behind her so you could see her. The problem was the Starlink satellite link, the beam goes up to the north to pick up one of Musk's satellites. I told them they should have used Verizon, probably better. Anyway, so that stream goes up there. Well, what happens is, it was interfering with the drone light show. It was interfering with the drone light show. Like no connection, loss of connection. And I'm like, well, I don't want what happened in Florida, man. I want drones flying all over the place. So what we did was we moved the drone light show to the south. We moved the Starlink away from everything and put it in the middle of the field pointing north. We changed the frequencies, which you have to go on a computer to do that, change the Starlink frequencies. That took a long time. And then what we did was we made sure the FPV guys made sure that their drones weren't interfering with the lighted. This is going on in real time while you guys were watching the show. It was going on during the lightsaber portion of the show. So if you notice when the Jedis, and by the way, the Jedi's routine, the reason I know this is because it's so specific. They're professional performers, right? They're action actors. So their performance was down, each move that they do, they're not just kids out there swatting around. You guys have seen behind the scenes, every single combat move that they did, every trick that they did was rehearsed for weeks, and it was timed out. It was 14 minutes and 30 seconds. When it ended, and then that's how the cameras do their shooting, right? And then we have the globes going around. Everything is to the minute. Of course, part of that's live stream, but part of it is there's so many moving pieces. If it didn't go to the minute, then we'd have an issue maybe with one of the racing drones bouncing into one of the other drones. So now what happens is, right when they did their bow and they walked off stage, that was when the light show was supposed to start. But it didn't. If you were watching, it didn't. It started about 8-10 minutes late, and she was stalling on stage. That's because all of the technology wasn't working. The connections weren't working, the drones weren't nothing, because we were interfering with all our own signals. So they recalibrated everything on the fly. I got a walkie-talkie in my ear. It's going nuts. Like, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't even listen to what people are saying because everybody's talking at the same time. My FPV guys, BJ and Johnny, best FPV pilots in the world. Sorry if there's any FPV pilots on here, but the reason I say that is they're not really about racing and high performance. They've worked television productions, right? They've worked for me doing live TV events, which is completely different than anything else in the world because you got only one chance, right? So even though it was a stream, it was still NBC. We were on NBC. They were watching. There's more to come with NBC because I have such a long relationship with them. So all that was going on, and the show, and so what happened was the lights went up 8 minutes late. She had to compensate for that. The light went up 8 minutes late, but we can't run over because the stream ends at a certain time. So what we were doing we were configuring along the whole way to make it run shorter. Each slide lasts for, I think it was a minute. The drone light show is 11 minutes, 30 seconds. And it takes a while to transition into each light show. So that's how it all happened. And we ended, I think the show ended 3 minutes early, 3 minutes before 9, after all of that. So it's funny because at some point, RoseAnn is like we're behind the scenes, everybody's just, not only is it 95 degrees, but we're all sweating because, oh my God, so many little pieces. But Ramon, I'm on the phone. I don't know what was happening. We were tearing down, and Ramon has a picture of me sitting on a bench. And it's just, I look so tired. I just look Like I went through it like a 20-round fight. I was all beat up, but what was
That's
great was we knew it worked, and the performers and afterwards, it's you during the event you get this adrenaline rush. It's just, which is why I love doing live television. It's just a rush. And then anything could go wrong because it's our first time doing it. And then when it ended, it's just like, wow, it's so great. And it was my team.
Yeah.
I just had a really great team. I put people in positions that I really trusted, and they stepped up. We had a great group of volunteers from Grossmont College, cinema students that really stepped up. And between the people that were volunteering, the professional people that were in professional positions, just did a really really good job. So it was just an amazing thing. And looking back at the video and the network and stuff like that, it's going to even look better once we edit the feature. So that was my part of it, and it was intense as hell. And I think it was a great way to kick off the event.
Yes,
And we
fantastic. And I know a lot of your team is actually here, so big shout out, kudos to them. Renee does have her hand up. She was going to make a comment, and now I just lost her.
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay,
can-
where'd you go?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
All I can say is congratulations on an amazing event. I was there front and center, and from where I stood, you were not able to see all of the things that happened behind the curtain. So just know that. One thing I would love to add, and this is my thing for all of the expos, the conferences, and the events, I would have loved to have been walking around with about 5 funders because the funders and the sponsors, they can't fund what they can't see. So when I see amazing events such as the one that you just had, I think about where's the funding community. They should see this. This is the only way they're going to understand, because the event also brought awareness to those who weren't familiar with drones. It also brought family involvement and engagement, from the little brothers and sisters to the grandmas that I saw. Whole families were involved and vested in this. I thought, where are the potential um, workforce, the sectors, the construction folks, the entertainment folks, all of the people that don't know what drones can do and how they could be applied should have been front and center. They would have been amazed and would have had better understanding. So overall, amazing. Next time I'm walking around with funders and sponsors and partners.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for that. I will say this: we didn't really want to race and Tim and all that. We really didn't want to beat up vendors. We didn't want to try. Like, look, I got a booth at Commercial Expo. It's $5,000. We didn't want to beat up vendors. We wanted them to participate. And so, we really looked for outsourced sources of funding, grants, community, the high school, the district, because what we wanted people to come to that. A lot of vendors are small businesses like mine. They're small businesses, a guy that makes a landing pad, or a guy that makes, controllers, or a guy that makes propellers, or, so a lot of these companies, they're small companies, and we wanted to have them there. I mean, so, hopefully we can continue to do that moving forward, where we don't want to charge, or we just want to charge a nominal fee for a vendor to be able to set up there. So I agree with you. There should be more funding. It was hard to get people to step up for the first one. Because they don't know what they're getting into. But I knew it would be successful. I didn't have a doubt from day one. I really didn't. I knew the team of speakers that we were going to have. I knew the team I was working with. So I really never ever had a doubt that the event wouldn't be successful. I just didn't know how hard it would be to make it successful. I didn't know it would take me 3.5 months of my entire life to make everything worked.
Job
I
well
see.
done.
Yes, very much so. So I know we're running out of time here, but Sam had her hand up, and I know she was at the event. So Sam, if you want to jump in really quick, like, I know we're running short on time here. And wait a second, because I know how
Yes,
it is.
yes. Desi, can you hear me?
We sure can.
I'm sorry, I just got a call too. I was just gonna second what Renee said, not maybe about funding, but also about maybe having some employers, our workforce, making sure that, yes, again, like, we do go to all these great conferences and these great events, and we see all this great talent, but where is it going to go? So I know for me, I want to have an initiative where I create something called Drumline, where we start, getting these drone prodigies hired on projects. And that's all my comment is. And I think it was a great show. I loved it. And I will be back next year. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I do have one other thing that I'd like to add in here really quickly, because I know we were talking about all the little segments that were going on around the entire event. And one of them that I was briefly able to attend was Tony Reed. He came in, he had the rocket drones, he had the indoor light show. Sally French was there with him, and those kids were so engaged. He rocked it. Oh, it was awesome. And so big shout out to Tony.
Yeah, actually, it was great working with him. I mean, him and I have followed each other on LinkedIn for a long time, and I think in terms of where he started and where he's at now, he's been as aggressive probably as Tim and Drone Soccer, and we have been out here. And I know he's part of the family now. We're part of the team. We have other events, coming up. But yeah, he certainly was great to work with, and it was a great show. And I stayed there for it too. I was sitting in on one of them. I thought it was awesome. Of course, we can't. I just want to throw out, look, even though RoseAnn is, a drone cinematographer, and she was doing her seminar and stuff like that. She was also pretty good with the lightsaber class, right? She's like, her and I went to a professional class and learned how to do that in Hollywood. So
We had like 20, under 30 kids on my first block for that workshop. And, it's a cinema workshop. They get to learn lightsaber from real Hollywood actors. And then we do like a cinema block with the drone, so they understand the basics on filming an action scene. And it's fun. And I got to do that a couple times during the day. I didn't get to do any drone soccer though. I was so bummed at the end, but next time.
Next time, right. So I'm not sure he's behind the scenes right now, but Vic Moss also came in for the event. So there you are, Vic. All right.
Sorry, I was working, so you guys don't need to see me working. No, it was a fun event. We didn't, Ramon and I didn't quite get to see many kids as we wanted to, but that was part of the whole. Hey, let's pivot. I think we've used that word about 20 times already. It was a lot of fun. Did get to talk to a lot of kids. Fun being on a couple podcasts. So definitely, it was a fun event. The Friday night thing was phenomenal.
Yes.
thank you.
It was. Look forward to seeing how it reshapes and grows for 2026. So with that, we are actually at the top of the hour. Do you want to throw in one last comment or anything about insights for maybe 2026 before we wrap it up here really quick like?
Well, everyone wants us to do it again, and we'll tweak it out. I mean, trust me, for as many people as there, I've gotten as many comments on how to fix it and more, or make it better. I shouldn't say fix it, fix the issues. But trust me, if you notice something that you thought was, oh, maybe that could be better, I've already noticed it, because that's just the nature of doing it together. I will say that I think this is important is those of us in the industry, I feel like the industry is eating itself. It's the same people at the show, the same people buying from the same people. It's just a circle. It's like a snake eating its own tail. And eventually we're going to run out of our own people to eat. So I think the idea is we all got started in this industry, 8, 10, 12 years ago, because we were in it for fun. It was the beginning. It was new. There was new startup companies. And I think by bringing in some 15,000 kids in this area total. And the other stuff that we're doing, we're growing a new base of drone pilots and consumers. So I think the higher up industries, need to look at what we're doing to bring young people into the market. And I think the drone soccer and this success, what we're doing at our colleges with DJI specifically and only, is bringing new people into this industry. So the guy with the landing pads and the guy with the propellers and Promo Drone and these companies that have massive drones that keep coming in for pilots, have pilots. So I think if we look towards developing more of this type of stuff where we can bring in newer people, that will help everybody, all of us.
Awesome. Renee or RoseAnn, sorry about that. RoseAnn, no, you're all good. All right, well then we're gonna
I'll
wrap
say
it up.
thank
with
you.
that.
Thank you, Desi.
Okay.
Thank you. All your hard work, Desi. You were hustling all day. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. It was wonderful. It was great to be there. Just the whole experience was wonderful. So good to see everybody. And we've said it so many times. The light show was phenomenal. I'd love to get Skyworks on the show. That would be phenomenal. Let's do a
I'll talk.
group
Yeah, I'll talk to them. We're just there's some stuff brewing. I mean, I I don't know, over the Bellagio. I know the guys over at MGM's Resorts, and they've been looking at the videos going, holy crap, Skip. And so there's a few other locations of where I've done projects. And so they're looking, so who knows, if we don't do some really crazy stuff. Obviously, Palm Springs loves us and wants us to come back. We could probably do something at the American Legion's new kitchen, then with the mayor right about it. I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying all this. I don't care.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us.
Yes,
All right.
everybody on this stream I want to thank them too. Almost everybody here contributed to this event, and really it wouldn't happen without you guys. That's true. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you next week. And have a wonderful week. Have fun. Get out, fly, and be safe. All right. Bye.